to see the first slide of my presentation.
Yes, we have that on the screen. Thank you.
So yeah, Robel is a company that, just a second. That is in the south of Germany. It's 150 years old next year. And today's agenda will cover short overview of Robel, then what we call the right machine for every application, focusing on E3, that's our battery technology, in detail for tamping, wrenching, clipping, grinding, and cutting applications. Robel is not only involved in designing and manufacturing hand-operated tools, but also long-welded rail trains, row miss systems, so the mobile maintenance train, network rail purchased row mill systems, so on-track milling machines. We also have our R&D, our own R&D company called Robel Rail Automation that is into robots on track and track maintenance. We are also part, or Vogel & Blötscher is also part of the Robel group. So we are also into measuring systems and measuring gauges. Plus we have our own service company called Plus Robel Services. Now I want to give you a short overview of the product portfolio that Robel Machinery and Tools, that's what M&T stands for, has. So we have machines for drilling holes into the web of the rail. We have machines for cutting the rail. We have grinding machines and machines for stressing kits and pulling, plus also machines for bending rails and parts of switches like blades. We are also very well known for our wrenching machines and clipping machines. Plus we have quite a wide variety of lifting, loading, and transporting solutions. As you probably well know, Robel is quite popular when it comes to hand-operated tamping machines. Plus we have solutions for providing power when it comes to electricity and hydraulics. And of course, as mentioned, we have many options for measuring with the Vogel & Blötscher product portfolio that is partly known in the UK under the name BENZ. So BENZ is basically the Vogel & Blötscher distributor for the analog track gauges, whereas Plus UK would be your provider for digital measuring systems. We also have various options when it comes to handheld tools. Of course, we have our own consumable portfolio plus our spare part portfolio. But now into greater detail, what we are here for today is the ecologic, economic, and ergonomic portfolio named E3 that Robel offers. The first machine, the first battery-operated machine that Robel invented is the rail drill and the impact wrench. Both were first sold nearly 15 years ago. So Robel really is basically the first company worldwide that provided machines really dedicated for track maintenance and construction. The first rail drill was a little bulkier, a little heavier, but over time technology evolves. So also when it comes to this machine, we were able to reduce the weight quite a lot. So now a machine really ready to operate starts from 16 kilo, and depending on the battery and the size of the rail and the drill bit, we can easily do 80 holes with a diameter 32 drill bit. We also offer solutions for drilling wooden and composite sleepers, also using the same battery platform as on drill bit. Of course, focus again is very low hand-on vibration. We also have a vibration decoupling system. We even offer one version where the height of the handle is adjustable so that you can cover smaller and taller operators. And yeah, as you can see here, also the capacity the battery can provide for this application is very likely sufficient for most shifts with up to 500 holes per battery charge. We also offer solutions for cutting rail in environments where sparks and dust is not really what you want. And that's our battery operated bandsaw. As I mentioned, the biggest advantage is you have no dust, no fumes as it is battery, and no sparks. So even in tunnels or on wooden sleepers, on maybe old wooden constructions like bridges, you don't have the risk of wildfires. And with one battery, you can cut up to 20 times. This version is now even available with a fully automatic feed. So the operator basically only has to set up the machine, press one button, and by the push of the button, the machine does the remaining work, and the operator can stand next to it, observe it, or even follow a different task in that time. The next slide covers a few of our grinding solutions. The machine on the left is our very light 1345 MD grinder, which we are currently putting through product acceptance at London Underground. So without the battery, the weight is only 40 kilograms, so even less than the very well-known 1349 grinder that Network Rail uses. And the same engine is used, so that sits here. And also the same battery can be used. So we have a runtime of approximately 60 minutes with a very powerful engine and, of course, a very low noise emission with no fumes as it is battery. As mentioned, the 1349 grinder, probably the most ergonomic grinder available, as the operator doesn't have to bend over at all when grinding the side of the head of the rail. So the gray section of the machine that I highlight here with my laser pointer is rotating around the head of the rail 182 degrees, with the operator always standing fully upright, just operating the small hand wheel here. Also, the machine has a vibration decoupling system, so the hand-on vibration is really low. It has extendable handles so that you don't hit your shins during walking. And also the handles were developed with ergonomic, what's the right word for that? Ergonomic doctor, Dr. Elizabeth de Mello at Network Rail, to make sure that the operator can lift the machine in the best possible way in every situation. So regardless if you have to carry it up and down stairs or lift it up and down a platform into a van or whatever, with these O-shaped handles, you can always find the best possible grip position so that the ergonomics is as high as possible. The machine on the right is our modular switch and crossing grinder. It will be shown in the UK version later on. The main difference is that the UK version has also these these white O-shaped handles that guarantee for best possible ergonomics. Plus, it is even more modular to make sure that it is a two-man lift only. Again, same BLDC engines are used, same batteries are used. So we have, again, up to 7 kilowatt of electric power with a 60-minute runtime per battery. The next slide covers our battery disc cutter. Weight-wise, it's the same as the common petrol disc cutters. The biggest advantage is no fumes, and it's a lot quicker when you operate it. So it's only 1 minute per cut on a 60 kilo rail and up to 20 cuts per charge using the 2300 watt-hour battery. From an ergonomic point of view, one of the biggest advantages is the spring located on the side of this arm that takes the weight of the machine during cutting. So the operator doesn't have to hold any weight in a uncomfortable position. So no back pain with this machine. The machine in the middle is our battery impact wrench. Was also part of the first 2 machines that Robel ever developed when it comes to battery. This particular version tilts here. So when working on fish plates, the operator doesn't have to bend over and can stay as upright as possible. Again, vibration decoupling system for very low hand-on vibration and up to 600 screws per battery charge. The machine on the right is our one of the latest machines we developed using the Robel battery system, and it's a fully electric power wrench. The capacity of the battery is sufficient for 5,000 screws, and due to the fact that the frame is extendable, you can adjust the center of gravity perfectly, and also the handles are adjustable, so every sized operator can find the perfect working height. This is another option we can offer, is the conversion kit. So basically, by changing the old type Honda engines on, could be a Robel machine, could be any other manufacturer, you can replace it to the BLDC engine unit with the battery. So you can upgrade old existing machines you already might have in your portfolio to make it battery. The only downside is that due to the fact that the old machines have gears and so on, you lose quite a lot of efficiency. So comparing it to the fully electric version, you lose basically 4,000 screws. So this machine can tighten 1,000 screws, and the fully electric one can tighten 5,000 screws. That's also something for the UK market. We know that the Robel clipping machines are very popular, especially for the higher companies. Now the Robel machines are also available with the BLDC motor unit, and get you a 90-minute runtime. And if my math are correct, this would lead to approximately 2,000 sleepers, one side of the rail, which is basically 4,000 fast clips you could unclip or clip. And the machine on the right is fairly new, was originally developed for the Australian market, but that's also something we want to introduce to the UK, a modular E-clip machine, because we know that especially for E-clip, the weight always was and is a topic. So we split it up into the power pack that also takes the Robel battery into the main frame, plus the clipping module and the trolley. So we have a lower individual weight of the module, and as it uses battery, no noise emissions compared to a combustion engine. Yeah, this I think is very well known. The Robel battery temper, lower noise emission compared to petrol, no fumes, and a very low vibration level thanks to the patented 2-stage vibration decoupling system. And that's what I mentioned before, the conversion kit that could be added to any manufacturer's old type combustion engine machines. And we also offer solutions for our stressing kit and the weld shear. So the machine you can see here is our dual battery power pack. Biggest advantage is it provides 2 different pressure settings. So you can use the weld shear and the stressing kit at the same time, and you only have to take one power pack with you. And that's the batteries I was talking about all the time. On the left, it's the 400 watt-hour battery and the 800 watt-hour battery. And in the middle, the 2300 watt-hour battery for our for the machines that need a lot of power. The biggest advantage, I would say, when it comes to the Robel battery system is that we have the knowledge in-house at Robel, so we are not, or you are not having the risk of changing battery platforms. So you might know it from the do-it-yourself market. Maybe you were a victim, let's call it victim of it, in your private life. So you buy a, let's say, battery impact wrench, and after 2 years, the battery platform changes and new batteries won't fit the old impact, and opposite. The Robel battery platform was, as I mentioned, developed 15 years ago, and you could still use existing batteries from 15 years ago with the new machines and the other way around, because it is our design. And if there is a new cell generation, we are just changing the cell pack in the housing, but the housing and the interface between the battery and the machine always stays the same. So for we call it now 800 watt-hour battery on the left, this was basically only 500 watt-hours 15 years ago. So the battery capacity increased by way more than 50% since we first introduced the battery to the market. This is also quite an interesting slide when it comes to the second E of the E3, meaning ecologic. And this is just an overview of a few machines we make of the CO2 savings you have per operating hour compared to a regular combustion engine machine. And let's say you use a 1349 that is really popular in the UK market. Per operating hour, 4.5 kilos of carbon dioxide are saved compared to the combustion engine version. And also this chart tells you the wrenching cycles, holes you can drill and so on per battery charge. And now I want to show you in a little bit greater detail the machine or the solutions we can offer for the UK market, and also some videos so that you can see the machines live. So yeah, the biggest advantage of the Robel tamping system, I think, is low hand-on vibration due to the patented vibration decoupling system, but the high performance thanks to the position of the eccentric weights in the drive shaft. You will see it in the video later, or basically in the second video, how the ballast stones flow under the sleeper once the tamper tries to penetrate the ballast. I always compare it to a cereal box. So if you try and fill cereals in a box and the box is full, you start to shake it or vibrate it, the level will drop because the cereals will close the voids. So they will always move in the direction of the least resistance. And that's also what the ballast does under the sleeper. And in the second video, you can see it quite well how it looks. How it looks. Second. Immediately ready. You just rotate the tool slightly to make it even easier to get into the ballast. And as it is less than 25 kilos, including the battery, easy one-man operation. Oh, sorry. And this is the second video I was talking about earlier. This is where you can see how the ballast flows under the void or to the void under the sleeper due to the vibration principle the roll temper uses. But I hope you could. Oh, sorry. I hope you could see it well. Yeah, how the ballast flows under the edge of the sleeper, and this is really the biggest advantage due to the position of the eccentric weight that creates the vibration. The next machine I want to show you in detail is our electric power wrench. As I mentioned, up to 5,000 screws per battery charge. The machine can take two batteries here in this section. Depending on how many batteries you take, you can adjust the center of gravity with the extendable mainframe so that the operator always has a very well balanced machine and doesn't have to lift as much weight during the wrenching process. Again, we use the Dr. Elizabeth DeMello handles on this machine that also can rotate around the machine to make the transport size of the machine as small as possible. Also, the main handles are height adjustable and foldable for transport so that the total length of the machine reduces to a regular pallet size. So if you have the machine on a pallet, no part of the machine will stick over the edge of the pallet, making it very easy to transport the machine in the vans the guys have. Every machine is equipped with a GPS sensor. So in combination with the torque measuring system the machine has, every wrenching process is logged on a data stick, including the GPS coordinates and the torque. So after you finish your construction site, you can send the Excel file to, let's say, Network Rail, proving that you did your job and proving that you did your job in a perfect way and without any screws over tightened. I think that's the most important for this machine. Next slide is a short video of this machine in action. So The engine, the electric engine that was seen in the video, is also an engine produced by our sister company, Vogel & Blötscher. So they also have their own department for electric drive systems. And the same engine is also used in our newly added to the fleet of machines, to our 8-spindle power wrench. So the machine you can see here in this slide was built for a South Korean company that has a huge construction site in Tanzania, Africa. So 4 machines left Relasing already. They are already on their way to Tanzania. And another 2 are ordered from other customers. And the goal is also to have this machine as a clipping machine. As I mentioned, same drive engine, same engine that tightens screws. The only difference is that this machine tightens 8 screws or loosens 8 screws at a time. So the biggest advantage, obviously, is that one operator can do the job that normally would require 8 operators. In, I think, nearly every country worldwide, the biggest concern in construction is the lack of staff you can find. And it is a very hard job to go out in the night, to go out on the weekend, every weather condition. In the UK, they have even the Christmas renewals. So it is a really tough job, and it's more and more difficult to find the right people. And with this machine, we help our customers to close the gap. So it's not meant to replace anyone, but meant to replace stuff that is not available anyway. So as only one operator is required, you have a lower labor cost level compared to paying 8 guys. But there are a few more advantages to the machine. And one is, as I mentioned, the high quality due to the measured and recorded torque with the GPS coordinates. It's very safe. The operator has a fail-safe remote control. So it really meets the highest standards possible, and has a very high output with up to 750 meters per hour. Here we have another short video of this machine in action. So the version you saw in the video was without the spring clip insertion or extraction module. This was not required by the customer that has this construction site in Tanzania. But during InnoTrends in Berlin in September, we showed the latest version of it that is also able to insert and extract the spring clips on the, we call it W structure system. So rather than having an operator to bend over all the time and remove the spring clips by hand, the machine does the job for him. The next machine I want to show you is our, I think, well-known 1349 grinder. Initially, this machine was developed for network rail with a hybrid power pack. And as we now have this bigger battery that is sufficient for powering a grinding machine like that, we are also able to offer this machine with battery drive. The biggest advantage is, again, the fumes, because you have no fumes compared to a lower fume level with the generator. You have still a very low weight that the operators have to carry. I mean, the battery is only 16 kilo, where the generator was 49 kilos. The vibration level is the same, but still low because of the vibration system, anti-vibration system. The noise emission is even lower as before. As I mentioned before, you have no back bending because the gray section of the frame will swivel around the head of the rail rather than the operator having to bend when grinding the side of the head. And you have a runtime, as mentioned, of 60 minutes per battery charge with peak power the battery can provide of 7 kilowatt. So in the video, we only saw the power pack version that was made for Network Rail. The battery is not yet added to the video. The next machine I want to show to you is our modular switch and crossing grinder. The bottom right picture already shows the UK version. So that's the version Network Rail got instead of the old type SNC grinder they used to have. We have, of course, added the well-known handles, and the biggest advantage compared to the rest of the world version is that the gray sliding frame that takes the different modules also can be removed. So with this, we were able to develop the machine as a two-man lift, rather than requiring 4 or maybe even more men to lift it in the past. Yeah, two-man lift, highest flexibility. In the meantime, we have 10 different modules our customers can choose of. We have combustion engines with different power levels, with grinding discs and cup wheels. We have our BLDC modules that are powered by the 2300 watt-hour battery that you can see in this transport box. And we also have modules for web grinding in preparation for flash butt welding. The main frame, again, is adjustable for different track gauges. So if you're, for example, working on a heritage railway that might have a different track gauge rather than 1435, you can do that with the same frame you're using on regular track gauge when working on Network Rail infrastructure. And also, as it can cover track gauges with 1000 millimeter, this is also used for transporting it. So also the transport volume or the transport size of the machine compared to the machines available in the past is much less. And as it can take different modules, you basically can take one frame only and two different modules if you have a job that requires both, where in the past you had to take two frames or basically two complete machines. Runtime, again, 60 minutes per battery charge, and that's Network Rail approved because this was part of the approval process and part of the testing process we had before delivering the machine to Network Rail. The removable transport box holds up to 4 batteries, so it would enable you to do a 4-hour grind job. And on the side of the transport box, you can also take some spare abrasives. It's 2 discs and 2 cup wheels you can take on the side of it. Unfortunately, the video only shows the rest of the world version. But the working principle is the same. You can easily switch between the modules. Changing the modules takes an experienced operator, I would say, less than 2 minutes. So I don't know if you have noticed in the video, but one of the biggest advantages of this machine when it comes to ergonomics is not only the low individual weight of the modules, but also the fact that the operator doesn't have to apply pressure with his arm and shoulder muscles during working. So we have a special hand wheel for that. We call it the fine adjustment, where the operator can effortlessly apply pressure to the rail or to the abrasive. So this ensures better grinding quality because you have a constant pressure and also lower operator fatigue. The next machine I want to show you is our battery disc cutter. As mentioned, one cut only takes 1 minute. Up to 20 cuts per battery charge are possible, or a 60 kilo rail. But there are a few other ergonomic features that make this machine special. As mentioned, it's the spring that takes the stress out of the operator's back because he doesn't have to hold the machine's weight during cutting. But we also have anti-vibration system here. We have adjustable handles. So for operators with longer arms, the handle can be adjusted to a further away position. We have LED light that illuminates the worksite. And we also have a small locking pin that locks the disc when changing it. So in the past, you always had to grab the disc with your hand. And this risk of injury is removed by this small locking pin so that the operator doesn't cut his hand by changing the disc. And also a really nice feature on this machine is that if you cannot finish for whatever reason the cut from one side, you can easily rotate the machine around the head of the rail. And by operating the second button that sits on the handle down here, the machine recognizes that and changes the rotation of the direction of rotation. So the sparks will always go towards the ground, reduces the risk of injury and also the risk of wildfires. Another short video showing the machine in operation. I do apologize. I think this one was quite rough. It was not really a good connection, I think, this time. And the last machine I want to show you in detail is our battery-operated clipping machine. In this particular case for fast clip type FC and FE. So it's a combined machine that could cover both. Again, battery operated. So biggest advantage of this one, obviously no fumes and a lower noise emission level, as the biggest factor when it comes to vibration is removed, the engine. Also the hand-arm vibrations for the operator are much lower. 90-minute runtime per battery. Battery can be changed in a few seconds. And if you have existing accessories like the transverse trolley or clipping tools and so on, that's of course interchangeable with the existing fleet in the market. And a huge factor that is very often not seen when it comes to battery machines is the lower maintenance costs. I mean, you still have to maintain a hydraulic system here, but you have no maintenance costs when it comes to the engine because the BLDC engine technology is maintenance free. So you have no filters and so on. So operating costs for battery machines are much lower compared to combustion engines. And this was the last slide of my presentation. Thank you very much here for your attention. And I do hope that it was interesting for you. And if you have any questions now, I am more than happy trying to answer them.
Okay, thank you very much, Michael. I don't see any questions in chat, but it's an opportunity for anybody to ask any questions of Michael or of Tim for the subjects of the presentation. It sounds like you got off lightly there, Michael. So if there's no questions...
sorry, guys.
Aha.
I say Ranga Pabati. You're trying to say something for stressing as well. Like, it is any slide missing or anything?
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that. There was some interference on your signal, I believe.
Sorry, it's my mic is upside. Sorry. Yeah, I'm just asking. I'm just requesting. Initially he mentioned about stressing.
The stressing kit.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a battery solution for the stressing kit. That's the dual hydraulic power pack that was part of the presentation. So rather than taking two different power packs for the weld shear and the stressing kit, we have one solution, one standalone solution approximately 40 kilos, or let's call it 45, including the battery, that supplies the stressing kit and the weld shear at the same time with the required hydraulic pressure.
Okay. What sort of tensile strength you offering?
We offer 70 tons for pulling.
Okay. Is it okay? Maximum 70 tons, yeah.
70 tons, 70.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
We also have a question in chat from Julian about the GPS logging that you mentioned on one of the machines. Is it augmented by the GPS manufacturer's own signals or standalone?
Well, the GPS is part of the machine, so it is as soon as the operator starts the machine, and as soon as the module has basically access to the GPS satellites, which is always the case if it is somewhere out of a tunnel. The GPS will then log automatically into the protocol next to every screw or every torque of the measured of the screw.
Okay, lovely, thank you. You mentioned there about tunnels, made me wonder, does the vehicle note its position and then back calculate when it picks up a GPS signal?
No, but you have a wrenching cycle you are choosing when you start the construction site, and you also have to mark the section where you start your construction or your wrenching process. And if you have a spot where you miss the GPS signal, you could go back and you could exactly tell which screw which torque has. So there is a wrenching pattern behind it. Okay.
Julian is also asking about the accuracy of standalone GPS.
Usually it's around 2 meters. So that's what for civil applications is accessible. Maybe in the military sector you can get it more precise. But that's most of the time more than enough, because in the end of the day, it would only be interesting to have the GPS coordinates if you have, for example, a screw missed. And missing a screw means that, for example, a screw was whatever, broken, a damaged thread, or really missing, physically missing. And then the operator can choose on the PLC to skip one screw. And this skipped screw is then logged in the protocol as skipped. And with the GPS coordinates, using that on your mobile phone, let's say in Google Maps, you can go back after that easily within a 2 meter radius, finding the spot where you need to add a screw.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
A couple of bits I picked up on. I was quite impressed with the attention to your manual handling conditions for the equipment. You seem to pay a lot of attention to limiting the amount of manual handling that the operators have to perform. That's encouraging. And also about the hand-arm vibration as well, because that is quite important. So it's good that you are attending to that. So yes, those were the points of particular interest I picked up on. Are there any other questions for Michael, please?
Yeah, could I add one more question for this GPS, especially for a tamping machine? Is that any way to add any CAD file or any text file to see to check the values? My element is aligned with your handheld tool.
On the hand tamper, there is no GPS module. So the GPS module so far is only on the various power wrenches we have, plus the 8-spindle power wrench.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I think the only question for me would be about on some of the longer track renewals, which might be over a long period of time. there's going to be a need to recharge some of the battery packs, because otherwise you're going to need lots of different pieces, particularly for the wrench. If you're going through clipping and let's say you've got maybe half a mile of clipping to do, I'm not sure how long that would take, but presumably the battery would run out during the middle of that operation. So you would need to make sure you've got enough machines fully charged, or enough battery packs fully charged. If you haven't, then you've got to have a means for charging them. So I suppose there's what I'm really trying to say is in the old days we would have a lot more fuel. We'd have big drums of fuel there, then you could top up. But now really you've got to really sort of think about how long the battery's going to last and make sure that's all planned, which is all doable. Right. It's not trying to take anything away from what you've said, because I think you're absolutely going in the right direction.
I know exactly
more planning,
what you mean. I think it's just a change of behavior, change of habit. I think now as everyone uses his mobile phone on a daily basis, and I think for most of us, especially when the mobile phone goes lifetime-wise to the end of its life cycle, you plug it in at least once a day. Most of us do it when they go to bed, and I think the same habit will be the case for battery-operated machinery, where it is already some sort of automatic behavior to refuel or to make sure you have a spare canister. I think for the batteries, this will also be a change in habit to make sure that you have your batteries charged.
Yeah, I think this sort of modular battery thing is coming for cars as well. I mean, I know that's a completely different conversation, but I think it goes way beyond the scope of your own kit as well. And very important that we all get our heads around that and put the charging infrastructure in place to make sure it happens.
Exactly. And also what we have tried to do with our battery platform is to increase the capacity to a size that in many cases you don't have to change the battery or charge the battery during one shift. It might not always be the case. You mentioned the clipping machine. That might be one machine where you have to change the battery or change or charge the battery. But for many other machines, I think the capacity of the battery is sufficient to cover at least the one shift, to make it easier for the guys out in the field to finish their task.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's perfect for the small spot locations, S&C, grinding switches, maybe rectifying a twist fault somewhere, and things like that. Yeah, I can see it's really good.
Thanks for that.
The side field is really where we cannot give the tie-ins at the end of our scheme after the ballast ramp. It is really helpful.
This is often, I think what Rang is saying is often the run out and run in of a track renewal is often the one that needs the most attention, the areas that need the most attention. So I think it certainly can cope with that. Shall I do my usual, Peter?
Yes, I was just thinking if there's no other questions, then I'd ask Phil, who's sorry, I didn't introduce Phil at the beginning of the presentation. Phil Edwards here is the chairman of the Ashford branch of the PWI, so he would propose a vote of thanks to Michael and to Tim.
Thanks very much, Michael and Tim. Thanks for preparing all of these slides and putting these videos forward. It was a really thorough and very impressive presentation, and the whole range of battery powered small plant that you've presented here is kind of, for me, it's like a bit of a game changer, really, compared to the way that we were trying to just sort of introduce it here and there before, and still running with the sort of fossil fuel powered plant. You know, it would be great to see this being used universally in the future, and the performance as well of the kit that you've described. I mean, particularly like the speed of operation, the optimization of the weight, not just for carrying the kit around, but also for, you know, when you're doing the operation as well, to reduce back problems. Yeah, it's really good. And obviously Peter's already mentioned the hand arm vibration, and the decoupling system that you've got there, which is really important. And yes, I also like the Dr. Elizabeth ergonomic O-shaped handles. I think they will come to identify your kit. People will look at, that's a Robel piece of kit. You can see that from a long way away because it's got those handles. So, but they look really good. The other thing I really like is the LED lights shining on the operation. You know, for years and years we've just had a Tilly lamp or some sort of line side lighting, relying on that to light up what it is you're doing, and to have those little lights there, I think that's really something that we should have done a long time ago. But yeah, so really good. I really like the intelligent wrenching with the torque readings globally positioned. You know, despite what we said about accuracy, it's still going in the right direction there. And the modular grinding machine I thought was really good, with the interchangeable modules. So overall, yeah, fantastic range of kit, and really impressive, really professionally thought out. And yeah, hope Network Rail, you know, do business with you with this kit. So so thank you very much for your time. Thanks for putting the presentation together. Much appreciated. So yeah, thanks, Michael.
Thank you
very much for the chance to have this presentation.
Yeah, thanks very much.